I always thought the W124 was probably the perfect car, the closest thing you could ever reach to automotive everyday perfection, and the AMG Hammer versions are even better. So when I finally had the chance to buy one, I did, and I'm going to show you why. Welcome back to another video. This is a car that I haven't featured much on my channel. I actually bought it like 6 months ago, and it is my 1988 Mercedes W124 260E. Now, this car is in all original condition. It is probably the most perfect car I own, the best condition car I own, and the previous owner spent over $8,000 restoring it back to how it left the factory. He was so meticulous that he actually put the North American new old stock headlights on it instead of facelifting the headlights to the European ones where they're all one piece. I asked him why. He said because he wanted it to look like it just left the dealership. That is how meticulous he was about this car. And then he sold it to me for the low price of $3,000 because he knew I would take good care of it. And my original plan when buying this car was to do a Hammer style build, but it's been 6 months and I haven't done anything to it. Just not sure if I can bring myself to sort of modify an all original 124 because there's not a lot of these left in this kind of condition. So today I thought I'd make a video on why I drive this car, and I gotta be frank, I don't drive it that often. It's got like 260,000 kilometers on it, of which I've probably put 300 of those on. So I barely drive it. It has been winter, as you can see here in Canada, and that has been part of the reason it's been parked in my garage for the last 6 months almost. But I'll give you a quick walk around of the car. It's literally perfect. Like, the only modification you could say is it's been debadged. Other than that, perfect. Everything. If I open the boot, look at this. Look how pristine it is. I've got some hella headlights that I was going to put on it because I was also thinking of doing a red pig tribute, but not anymore. Well, I say not anymore. I'm making this video and I'm not sure what direction I want to go with this car. But like the title of this video is, it says why I drive a W124, and I want to get into why I have this car, and I enjoy interviewing people. So I thought, why not have my friend Logan interview me about my car.
How much did you pay for this car?
$3,000.
$3,000. That's pretty good. That's a really good price. What do you think would be a fair price to pay for this car?
I would probably say I could sell it easily for at least 6.5, if not 10 if I waited for the right buyer. But honestly, you know, if I go to sell a car, I prefer to give someone a good deal than try and maximize my dollar amount and wait 4 months longer. I feel a little guilty if I was to just like sell it and double my money when he gave it to me, but I would only sell it to someone that's going to take care of it.
Have you done anything to it? Did you have to fix anything on the car?
So I did have to do the carrier bearing or bushing, sort of. That kind of keeps the drive shaft from like bouncing around in there, because when I got the car it was completely shot, like the rubber had all gone. So that was replaced, like $100 part, 2 hours of labor. And then other than that, I did an oil change on it, and that is it. I need new tires on it, and I was going to put the OZ monoblock wheels on it. And like I said, my plan for this build was a full like Hammer style tribute car. And then it changed to like a red pig tribute, where I was going to do the red pig livery, put those hella headlights on the front and just enjoy the car. But like I said, none of that has happened now because I just don't know if I want to, one, invest the money into it. Two, if my viewers, you guys, would actually want to watch this car get built or modified. And three, it's such a nice one. I feel bad kind of modifying it, but at the same time, I'm giving it a new lease of life, and everything I do would be reversible. I actually bought new front bumper. I bought a new rear bumper for it. I bought the Sacco panels and side skirts so that if I want to paint match it red, I could get those paint match red and keep the originals to convert it back to stock potentially one day. But I realistically probably wouldn't ever put it back to stock. Once it's modified, it's probably going to stay that way. And if I sold it, it would sell as is.
What's really special about this particular Mercedes?
So this is a W124. I have a 190E, and the 190 is sort of like your modern day C-Class. So that is your C300. This is your E-Class. So this is the E of all the generations. It's the bigger version, and this goes below the S-Class. So this is famous for being a German taxi. It's famous for being one of the most reliable cars in the world. And Lexus definitely took inspiration from the way this was engineered with the LS400, which is famous for being one of the most reliable cars ever made. This is sort of like the European version. You've also got the S-Class. I would say, honestly, they're both very reliable, but this might be more reliable because there's just less luxury things to break on it. But for the era, this car has heated seats. It is so quiet inside. Like riding in this car, it feels like a new car. It's unbelievable. And in the stock form, the suspension is so smooth. I have a Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, and this is honestly just as smooth as my Silver Shadow, I'd say. Also, the handling is surprisingly good for a luxury car of its era, I'd say. And the comfort, the seats, like it is so comfortable, this car. I'll open it up for you.
Let's take a look.
So right here, we've got the full tan interior with the black dash. And as you can see, it is in probably the best condition I've ever seen a W124 be in. That wasn't, you know, a low mileage 500e or something. But the seats, like, you can't obviously feel it, but they are like a couch. And this car doesn't get enough hype, I think, for how luxurious it is. You can see right here, you've got your heated seat controls for both passenger and driver. You've got your window switches, power windows. The heat works really well in this car. You've got heated, I think this is windshield. It might be rear window. Right here, you can press this button and your headrests fold back in the rear of the car. We've also got a updated stereo in it so I can play music from my phone. We've got the ashtray and the cigarette lighter. You've got a nice glove box. It's a very spacious car to ride in, and you can comfortably fit 5 people. Now this seat is not a great example because it's so far back, but if you see, I can still fit very comfortably. Like, and if I sit on this side, it's even more comfortable. You've got plenty of room. You've got an armrest back here. It's a spacious car, and the 190 is quite a bit smaller, actually. When you ride in or drive one, the back is nowhere near as comfortable. So if you need a car to take friends around in, this is probably the best Mercedes to buy from the 80s. Because the S-Class, like I said, it's a great car. It just, there are a few more things that could go wrong on it, and maintenance is more expensive on the S-Class than the E-Class, generally speaking.
One thing I wanted to mention as well, when you shut the door there,
The sound.
even just opening it as well, but opening it and it just feels good. It sounds good.
That's the thing I love about this car, is it's so well built. Like, this is from the era that we know as probably the peak of Mercedes Benz, I'd say. Like, this is when they put billions of dollars into engineering their cars. And that was back when the $1 billion was worth more than it is today. Obviously, the new electric cars take a lot of money to build, but this car has stood the test of time, as you can see. I mean, when you take care of it, look at it, it lasts. These cars do rust out a little bit. That's probably the worst quality thing, I'd say, is in the front especially. You'll find a lot of them have rust on these fenders, on the lower parts down here. And the models that have the Sacco panels, which are the later ones after 89, you'll see they have panels right there, and when you pull them off, sometimes you can find hidden rust. So these ones are better if you want to get one that doesn't have rust. If it's been taken care of, there's nothing really hidden on the early models, because as you can see, if it's rusty down here, generally you'll know, and this is all coated. You can see this is like a protective film. Now you might be wondering what it's like to actually daily drive one of these. Can it keep up with modern vehicles? This one isn't that fast, but it's not like slow where I can't keep up with modern cars. Obviously, if I'm racing them, I wouldn't, but it's fine for everyday driving, and that is why I still drive this car, and I do enjoy it when I take it out, because it's like, it's just such a nice car to drive. It's such a nice car to ride in. All my friends, out of all my cars, a lot of them, this is their favorite, surprisingly. Even though I would argue it's probably the least cool car I have, in my opinion.
Like, my personal experience driving in this car, having driven the 190e to California and back with TJ, this is my favorite car of his to ride in. It's definitely the most comfortable he has.
It's definitely the most comfortable. It's the most spacious. It's actually got a radio that works and music, and it's like driving a modern car with heated seats in the winter. I mean, you've got the mono wiper, like driving it here in the snow today, no problem whatsoever. Which brings me on to what we're talking about now, selling it potentially.
Yeah, quite unfortunate. Why do you want to sell this car, TJ?
Plan was to build it, hasn't happened, and as much as I would love to keep it, right, I do YouTube for a living, and so I buy cars, I modify them, and I interview people with other cool cars. And this car, if I'm not going to do anything with it and I'm not going to use it, then there's no point keeping a car I'm not going to drive. I don't want to just sit in my garage and do regular maintenance and never drive it. I'd rather go to someone that's going to keep on enjoying it, or I modify it and I keep it. Those are the two ways I would keep this car, is just modifying it, building it how I would want this car to look, lowering it, the OZ monoblocks, like that style AMG or Hammer or Red Pig or something like that, or a mix of all three potentially. But if I don't do that, I don't know if I can afford to justify keeping it.
We've kind of talked about some like the interesting bits about it, what makes it good, a couple of things that aren't so great. What is one thing that you would really say that stands out about this car compared to other cars of the same era, compared to other Mercedes?
Well, let's go on a drive and I'll show you.
Sounds good.
So we're now in the car. You got your heated seats on. I turned it on for you.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go for a cruise. I'm going to show you why this car is so nice to drive and why I drive it sometimes. I don't drive it every day, but I could. And maybe I should, if I don't sell it, make it my daily driver. As you can see right now, it's smooth. Like, I don't know if you can really tell on camera.
I feel like I'm sitting on a cloud right now. It's like a wave almost when you're going over bumps in a way. I think it's probably the best way to describe it.
It's a wave, and just, you know, we're not close to each other. Like, we've got a nice amount of room in this car. It's quite spacious. This is a perfect size. Unless you get in a modern luxury car, you're not going to get a quieter experience than this. Also, the mono wiper. Just look at the mono wiper. Hold on. Look at that.
That's beautiful. That's actually really cool.
Cool. And if you didn't know, fun fact, Koenigsegg actually used the same wiper in the CC models when they first came out. If you're a Koenigsegg owner and you need to replace it, there you go. It's from a Mercedes W201 or 124. Now you know my reasons for buying this car, driving it, and now selling it. But what do you guys think I should do? Should I keep it, or should I put my resources into my other projects?